Good afternoon. My name is Lynn Skolnick, and I represent the Ethelbert B. Crawford Public Library Local History Initiative. And we're interviewing folks who were born in this area or lived in this area or worked or played in this area. And today I'm joined by my colleague on this project, Marvin Rappaport. And today is September 27th, 2024. And we're here today to interview Bill Sipos. And Bill is a local legend, and we're going to begin our interview. Welcome, everybody. Bill, tell our viewers, when did your family first come to Sullivan County or the Monticello area, and where did they settle?
We come here in 1959, and we settled in Forestburg, New York.
So you've lived there the whole time?
Yes, I did.
And why did your family come here? What drew them to Sullivan County?
They liked my mother and my father got together when they brought us back up here, and my stepfather, so he had this hunting camp and he had this property there, and that's how we ended up there.
And how old were you when you came up here?
How old was I when I come here? I was 14.
Okay, all right. So then you entered the schools here.
I did.
And you went to Monticello High School?
Correct.
And
how was that, Bill? Was that an adjustment? Where'd you come from?
Well, where'd I come from? In Florida for 1 year. My mother and father moved to Florida. 1 year later, they didn't want to be down there, and we all come back, my sister included, and that's when we come into Forestburg.
Where did you grow up, though, before Florida?
I was down in Roaston. That's where my father was, in Roaston, and who is my stepfather, but he was there, and my mother and her family were in Marlboro, and then they came together.
Okay, and how was it adjusting to the Monticello schools? Getting on a school bus, from Forestburg, I assume, and then, going to a school with all kinds of different people from this culture?
Well, the part of getting around, it was a chore, but they were taking me into school, as we did for quite a while, but then came the buses and we continued moving. Very rural, very rural.
How about the schools? Did you adjust okay to the school?
I would be inclined to say yes. I was there. It was a stranger coming in. It was different falling as a youngster. It was a challenge. And I just did the best I could to get through that. And we just moved forward. That's the best I could tell you.
do you have any specific memories of your high school experience here? Any teachers that you remember, or were you part of any extracurricular activities, sports?
I was, let me see, I worked on that little list you gave me. So we had, I played baseball for sure. And Kay Bogdan was in there. John Lawler was in there. Mrs. Federberg was one of the teachers. There were several others. The coach, I can point out his name and think, I just got to get to it.
Coach Kennedy?
Kennedy, definitely. And then
Coach Roach.
after that, so yes, I remember that. There was one teacher, he was very good, but he was tough on me, and I wasn't good, but I don't remember his name. He was a heavy-set guy who was on the second floor, but I was in the old school.
What subject?
That's what I'm trying, I
Ah.
could have
okay.
been with me.
In those days, it sounds like maybe it could have been Bernie Jacobs.
Yes, that's exactly, you're on the money.
Yeah,
Bernie Jacobs.
he was more heavy set. He was a social studies teacher. He was
Yes.
there when I started teaching as well. Yeah. After high school, what did you do after high school, Bill?
After high school, okay. I worked in, coming out of school, I worked in Maryville Park. Okay, and during school, and then continued when I come out of school. I did work there for them for years. And then I went into Woolworths. And I learned how to clean the floors and do my work and stack the our projects up that we bought in and the items. Being kind of a gopher, so to speak. And after that, I had moved on to a place, Dean Phipps. That was an auto place for sales and stuff and some light repairs further up on Broadway. And those were the two major ones. Woolworth was a big one for me because they sent me down to New York City and asked me to go and to find out I could go to belonging to their, let me just think there.
Training program to move up the ranks?
Well, I made down to Woolworth in New York, and they offered me to come in there, but I didn't. I went back and I stayed in Monticello because I was kind of happy with Monticello. So I kind of kept pretty much going on with everything in Monticello.
But none of those early jobs were in food service.
Not a one, except I ate.
But you ate, okay. So, Bill, tell us about your present family. Your kids, grandkids?
Yes, my two sons, both are here in Forestburg.
Names?
Granddaughters.
What are your sons' names?
Bill and Bob are the boys.
Yeah.
Granddaughter is Amanda Sipos. She's now living in Seattle, and she's doing some pretty interesting things up there. And she come out of the Newburgh area, or the. And then I have Brooke. She's 9 years old, 10 now. She's in school now here in Monticello, and she's a very bright student at this moment.
And who's that lovely young lady that's helping you in the background?
Definitely hiding because
Hey,
through all these years, I could be talking to you, and then all of a sudden I start drifting a little bit. Don't grab it like you used to, but we're gonna get through it. I'm the best I can.
thank you, Ginny.
Bill, what events in your early years led you or shaped the person you became? Can you think of anything maybe that happened in high school or in your years working at Dean Phipps or at Woolworths that shaped who you became, certainly as a businessman or as a politician in your community?
I wasn't there yet. I spent most of my time doing the job for Dean Phipps and the mothers. They were just kind of gopher jobs, and I was a kid at that point. I mean, at 18, I was graduated, and I really didn't know what direction I wanted to go or how I wanted to go, and I did the best I could doing that. So once I got to Dean Phipps, they were very nice to me. Woolworths was great. Well, all right, so to be the person I want to be as my, you should be taking this to her because she's got, anyway, I was I'm an adopted child. Okay, and
Grateful for your family.
grateful for my family, grateful for the kids growing up and everything else. I guess
Bill, when did you first get interested in food service? When did you get an interest in Bend and Elbow?
if I'm not mistaken on here, I bought that in 1968. And that's when I started with that.
But not with food.
And I didn't start with food. There was people that wanted to sell it. And it took some time to go through that process. And
More discontent music kind of place then.
it was, once we got moving forward, we did music, we had music come in, and we had DJs, and we had different little things, whatever. I didn't really could do a lot because I didn't know a lot. It was very, it was just hoping everything I did would come out within some plus.
Well, how did you get it? How did you get the business plan? Was there somebody that was supporting you or guiding you in running a business if you had never done that before?
I went into this with a gentleman that asked me to do this with him. He wanted to go into this business with him. And I'll tell you his name in a minute. Just bear with me. He was from the car dealer, the Chevrolet car dealer.
Lasky.
That's it, Al Lasky. But that wasn't his gig, and he left early. I was there, and then I went on from that point, trying to move forward with this. And then we got a lot of stories about that.
Want to share a couple of those stories?
Well, let me see what we can pick up quick here. Okay.
In your head.
Oh, it's in my head.
A little too wild with the bikers and.
Yes, we had bikers that come in. The wild stuff, crazy stuff I was quite relatively strong in that in years, but I wasn't in for fighting and all this stuff. And there was only 8 stools there when I bought the place. So there wasn't much to work with. I got it from the town, from Broadway, and I can't think of the name. But I got a DJ, well, not a DJ, but a music box that you would put in there.
Cliff Carlisle.
From Miller Automatic?
Major Cliff Carlisle was very healthy with me, helping me and pushing me to the food. And that was a real plus for me. In fact, he called me. He said, "Haven't you said enough of these kids, dealing with these kids? Come down and have a cocktail with me." And that's when he was down at his place. And I went and had a cocktail. Of course, I spent hours with him. And then he took me in to teach me from cooking. He started teaching me catering. And that's what helped move that. I went down to Jersey to Miami to help him do some of that. And it was pretty educational for me in learning how all these different things work.
So you had never cooked before, and someone took you in and helped you learn how to do this.
Absolutely.
And when did you change from the name Bend and Elbow to Mr. Willie's?
In the range of the 80s, I would say. I don't know exactly, but what we took out of so many pictures and things today looking for it. That's the date that this come up with. So yes, that is when I started turning from DJs and discotheques to music and more upgraded things.
And so that's why you changed the name to change the image.
Mary Ellen Brinkley she was working in the kitchen for me, and she did a lot of stuff in helping me get it menus and most all of that stuff. That was a very,
She was instrumental in the.
very instrumental for things, especially things that I did. I had to fake my way through this.
But you did a pretty good job of faking it then. You sure did.
Done
then-
good.
Bill, over the years, there were so many. I know I was involved in organizations that would come to you. We want to put on a dinner for this or honor this person. I remember when we worked on the naming the fields after Ed Kennedy, we had a reception that you prepared beautifully for us. And in most cases, you gave us a break on the price. So what motivated you to give so much back to your community?
Please don't take this when I tell you. I love people and I respect the people. Of course, there's always a few things, but they're not the bad ones. Mary Ellen Brinkley had helped me.
Your adoption was part of it. You just wanted to give back.
The adoption was very important. I was very thankful. I mean, I had no home and I was pulled out of New York City. And, you know, I've been thankful to this day that I've had my life. And I've been able to be with people. I have, as we were looking for stuff here, I mean, we come across different things that were newspaper articles galore and all kinds of different things that were important to this. But I did a lot of work and I still do for the kids. I wanted the kids to come in that could enjoy holiday parties, that could do whatever necessary. I have been, because as a kid, I come in tough and didn't know what I was doing at 5. And I was in 5 different homes before somebody took me. And I just have that part of me that I care about youth and people.
Someone had cared about you and you wanted to care about the people around you as well.
But I'm about it.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So Bill, during the time that you were at Mr. Willie's, you entered politics. What were the roles that you had as a politician in Forestburg?
Well, why don't we stay at Mr. Willie's where we
Okay, we can stay at Mr. Willie's.
I'm kidding. I was a supervisor
3 terms.
for 3 terms. Count three terms as a councilman, supervisor for about almost 10 years probably, and the councilman that I said, and I took that under because I happen to love Forestburg and love the people. And Dan Lamberti, who was a teacher, and he was on that, should have been on that list. But I followed him into office, and he kind of led me and talked me into doing that. And I enjoyed it, and I have a lot of good memories from it. And I'm thankful for much of where we got with that.
Bill, do you remember, were there events during your political career, projects that you were able to get through or to get funding for? Were there a couple of events of which you are most proud during your political career? Things that you did for the town of Forestburg?
I liked what I did, but whatever I did out of my own, basically. No, I didn't do
Anything specific.
nothing specific. It was just, there was different venues. There were the senior citizens. With that, we did a long time with that, and
So you had events for the senior citizens at the town hall?
they were there, and then the fire company was there, had come in, and they're very good and been really helpful to the county, the town, rather. There's the town hall had places for the youth to ski, which they sent them into Monticello. They had water there that they could swim in. And there's probably many other things.
What have been some of the more significant changes that you've seen either in Forestburg or in the Monticello area in general over the years, good or bad?
We were in the Broadway where it used to be.
I loved Broadway, especially when I was in Woolworths and the stores along that line. When they would come in and they would go for the bagels at night and go for the patches, and there was always a nice activity, and people were kind on the walkways, that talked to you, that shop, that would answer, would help, would talk, they're friendly. Those days are kind of different today, and they were really, really special, especially from what I come from. And I was very thankful for that, and that helped me. And like I said, catches, I've been in the stores across the street, the Davco's, and I probably was in and out all the stores there. I did everything there, and I loved it.
Well, Davco is now our library. Did you use the library as a kid in Monticello?
I
You were in
was
school?
a big reader. I mean, I read what I had to read in school, and I've read books, and then I stopped, but I got busy and everything else. I may, and I'm sure I, at one or two times, I did something not like this, just maybe for books or for something to take and read. But I didn't go to, I never knew about doing anything this way or even thinking about doing it.
Bill, looking back when your kids were in school and then when they graduated from school and went on to either further education or whatever jobs they held, did you want them to stay in Monticello?
Yes, without a doubt.
And did you feel that there was enough for them here for their families?
Yes, the only challenge here was we were a long distance away to come to school. I mean, we had a bus, but it was still, everything was a distance. It took time. I mean, I didn't drive the bus, but it was a trip.
Bill, I forgot to ask you earlier on, where in Forestburg did your family, did you live growing up when you came here in '59?
I'll tell you. There was on Forestburg Road, there was a cabin that had been a hunting cabin, and they turned that into one place for us to live. Okay.
Above the reservoir.
And that was this side of the reservoir as you would come down around the corner. That home is still there. The rides on the buses, they were just challenging as always. But they took time. So, and yes, I was good with that. It is what it was.
So they took the hunting camp cabin and made it into a full-time homestead for you.
Yep, it's still there, although my parents had sold it. But that's where I was at.
Do either of your sons live in Forestburg?
Both of them.
So not only did you want them to stay, they in fact did stay.
Yes, my granddaughter's here, but Amanda, she's up away. She's not here right now. She's in Seattle.
Are their lives much different from what your life was at their age?
Run that by me again.
Bill, were your Bob and Bill's lives now, how are they in comparison to your life when you were their age?
They're
Well, Bob is in the food business.
Bob is taking over my food business,
The catering.
the catering part of it.
Yeah.
And Bill is into all types of different things. He had been a supervisor and he's a painter now. And he's busy all over the place, so renovations.
So in both cases, in some way, they followed in their father's footsteps.
Sorry to say.
I'll bet they don't. I'm sorry. So Bill, looking back, how would you summarize your life living here in Sullivan County? You mentioned to us how grateful you were for the life you had, for the life you were given as an adopted son. What are the things that stand out over the years?
There were the years as we moved forward, the years changed considerably. There were more people in the schools. We were in. I was in.
What stands out in you living in the town in Forestburg?
Oh, for Forestburg?
What stands out?
Either for the town or for Forestburg specifically.
Okay. In Monticello, it was just that it was friendships in a small school. After that, it started the bigger schools coming in, and in Forestburg, I'm not sure how to answer that at this moment. I still live there. I've lived there since I'm here. I don't intend to leave. I'm not sure. I'm not sure
Think about that one.
that I would want to think on that a bit more.
Okay. Marvin, anything you want to ask Bill?
Bill, one of the things you mentioned, your sons, they both have, by the way, terrific reputations in their respective professions, and you should feel good about that. And they do a very good job at what they do. And but in terms of the restaurant and catering, I know now you're doing, since you sold the place, mobile catering, and that's turned out to be a very good situation for you. But the one that stands out in my mind over the years that I went to, that you had catered, was the absolute phenomenal Harvest Festival or Thanksgiving Festival at the Center for Discovery Big Barn. I guess not the big barn that's now in Hurleyville, the original one across the street from the Center for Discovery. The catering that you did, the hundreds of people that showed up from all walks of life and from all geographic locations whose children were at the center, and just the beaming smiles on everybody's face, from that huge tureen in the middle of the room for your wonderful Thanksgiving soup to all the carving of all the turkeys that were like, it was worthy of photographs in a magazine. Your team is to be commended because it doesn't happen by itself. And your leadership in those kinds of very, very large catering jobs should be noted. And I just wanted to say how much, as a person who was a guest at a number of these events, how beautiful a job you and your family and your team did.
I appreciate that. That's very kind, and I really appreciate it. And a couple of weeks,
The end of
the end of August, we'll be doing it again.
November, yeah. Okay, that's great. I mean, it's
And-
something that everybody looks forward to.
And for many years, I'm not sure if you still do, I know, Bill, you provided the turkeys and the cooking of the turkeys for the Federation for the Homeless for their annual Thanksgiving dinner.
A lot of different things, yes.
And so many of those events that you've done over the years obviously are part of the gratitude you have felt and the need to give back to your community, but have served so many people in the very best possible way. And there are so many people that have a debt of gratitude to you for having done some of those things, and so beautifully. Most appreciated for sure.
I appreciate it and I thank you for it. But I am happy to have helped and done the things I've done for the community. And I don't always talk about it. I just do what I gotta do. And I basically kind of leave it at that.
Well, here's the opportunity for us to talk about it and to really to thank you for all that you've done for the community. We appreciate it.
It's quite a legacy, Bill. You and your family should be proud. And much of what you've done is going to last, you know, and into the decades. I mean, whether it was at the town level, whether it was at so many people we talk to who want to come to town to do class reunions, they want to know where's Mr. Willie's. You know, it's just a place to go. And the warmth and the hospitality that you provided for so many people will live on for a long time. And we thank you for that.
I you know, from my heart, I mean it, and I thank you as well. And I thank your young lady as well. And I'm thankful for my family. And this is what is important to me. The rest I'll work with on as we move forward. I do what I can when I can, and we're still getting parties. We just booked 2 more parties. So
Great.
Great.
I'm a backup now.
That's great. Well, we wish you continued good health and good times. And again, look forward to seeing you in the hood, as they say. As a Forestburg resident, we'll see you in the hood. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
thank
your
you.
time. Thank you so kindly.